Welcome to the Gag Reflex.
All right, we have a quick little gripe right here at the beginning.
He's a lot angrier
I'm
than his voice inflection sound.
I'm quite upset. So, episode 4 of the Gag Reflex, in which
Well, it's really 3 because we delayed the first one.
yeah, but in the episode number 4, we got 41 listens, which was a milestone. It's like 10 more than the previous, than the next highest.
It's about 35 more than I would be happy with.
And on our most recent one, we only got 13. So it was like 28, 35, 41, 13. What happened, people? Oh,
He's pretty upset about
I'm pretty upset,
And we're, thinking of ways that we could improve, but obviously we didn't.
We tried everything within our power to make this as high quality as possible. But I guess you guys
no.
don't give a care.
Within reason.
Within reason.
Yeah, we don't try to make this too high quality.
I don't know. I've poured about $1,500 into this little venture here.
$1,500.
I bought a billboard.
Really?
Yeah.
And it says, "Listen to."
It says, "Listen to the Gag Reflex with Zach and Jack."
And, like all the parents are covering their kids'
Right.
eyes.
And it's just outside of Fairview.
Really?
Yeah, and it
Right where the sand volleyball courts got teared down.
right, and it's got like this picture of this woman who like looks like she's like got her hands around her neck. It's like a stock photo. She's got her hands around her neck and she looks like she's choking.
And she's just stark naked from the shoulder down.
Right, but it's got like the censored bars,
Right.
Except instead of censored, it says Gag Reflex on the first one, then with Zach and Jack on the second one.
Oh, sweet.
So it's a pretty cool billboard, and I guess people saw that and like told people not to listen to it or something.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some pretty bad PR right there.
Yeah,
I was
it
thinking
good.
like, volunteer work or something like that, but no, just went straight for the erotic billboard. It's like for Sarah's Secret.
Right, exactly. Or DW's video shop,
Have you seen that?
Yes.
Okay, so whenever you drive down, have you driven down to like Texas and A&M and all there? Like, have you gone through there at all?
I've driven down to Austin, but never to A&M.
Do you get on I-45?
No, I go on 35.
Okay, so 45 takes you past this creepy little town. It's in between Ennis and Corsicana.
Okay.
And all that's there, I swear, it's just one guy that owns the town is what it looks like, and he owns a porn shop. and it's like it's only open at night, and there's no one ever there except for one car, which is obviously the guy working there. And then there's one about 5 miles up the road that is even bigger than that, and it's like a play off the other one.
Oh my god. You're not talking about Carl's Corner, are you?
What the heck?
Have you ever been to Carl's Corner?
No, it sounds so
No,
familiar.
it's a town. It's a town. The town's name is Carl's Corner. It's right near Italy, Texas. And it's got a couple of gas stations. One of them is called like the Texas Smokehouse or something. You go in there and it's almost like a Buc-ee's. It's got all the like candy that they make themselves, or not make themselves, but they package it themselves and sell it as their own brand. And it's always got some old guy outside playing music. Different old guys, but always at least one.
Right.
And we're near Carl's Corner, and we look over, and there's this huge, like, warehouse-sized building that has absolutely no printing on it, except for a sign in the parking lot that just says Triple X. So, and there were 2 cars parked outside. So I was kind of curious to check that out, but we didn't get any closer than the highway to that because that was a little bit sketchy.
You should take your sister up there.
Yeah, I'm sure she'd really enjoy that. 13-year-olds are very into sketchy buildings in the middle of nowhere with a sign that says Triple X.
Oh, did you hear the noise that just came out of me?
Yeah, that was pretty gross. What was that?
I don't know, but it came from like the inner depths of my
your lungs.
Yeah, like that was air that hadn't been used.
The darkest place known to humanity, Zachary Miles' lungs.
Yeah, but okay, are there any local Buc-ee's around here?
No, I think the closest one is
it's like
Temple.
It's like 100 plus miles, right?
Yeah, because I think there are only the 2 of them. There might be like I seem to think there's a little one somewhere, but they're the 2 big ones on either side of Austin on I-35. There's the one between Austin and San Antonio, and there's the one in Temple.
And I've personally never been. What is it?
It's just I make it a point to visit one every time I go past it, just because of like the novelty of it. It's that you're familiar with like the logo thing, like that beaver.
Yeah, that beaver with the red hat.
Yeah, that's like the billboard. They've got this big sign that lights up, and that's it. And they've got like statues of them outside the doors. But what it is it's these gas stations that must be about 100, no, maybe not 100, but somewhere a huge amount of gas pumps and big parking lots. So you go inside and it's almost like a Walmart, except it's all they've got one set divided into like three parts. They've got one section that is, or maybe more than three. They've got one section that's like all snack foods and drinks and stuff, and some of them like they package it themselves and
Yeah.
sell. And so they like beaver nuggets is their big thing. It's like I've never tried it. It looks like it's like little crispy things.
Is it chicken or what?
It looks almost like Cheetos.
Oh,
So it's like a chip type deal.
Alright.
And they come in different flavors. So you've got like candy beaver nuggets, and they've got a little like food court type area where you go up and you buy food, and like they've got like a little barbecue thing in the middle, and that's what I always get is their pulled pork sandwich. It's pretty good. And they've got like Dippin' Dots and stuff, and they've got like a home decoration like clothing area. So it's all this like Texas themed stuff. So like they sell like the belts with the big buckles and everything, and
Right.
like cowboy hats, and like Bucky's T-shirts, and then all these decorations for your house. So, like you can buy like very intricate old like Texas flags, with like the fancy stitching inside of like a glass frame to put up on your wall and stuff, and like cow skins and everything. So it's almost like going into an antique store there. And then they've also got another part that's like camping, water sport, hunting supplies. So like just things like if you're going out for like a weekend trip, I guess that's where you could get what you needed. And I don't know why it's as famous as it is, but I mean it's a fun place to go. You just walk around and see whatever there is to see, and there's always a ton of people there. It's like every time I've been there, there's been like charter buses for some like school or church trip or whatever that have stopped there on their way to wherever.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Have you ever been hunting at all?
No, have you?
No, I haven't, and I don't really understand what
the appeal.
I mean, I understand that some people, it's kind of cool to track something down and then kill it from afar.
Yeah.
But like, bottom line, I just feel like you're still like shooting animals.
Right. Like I mean, I understand like the appeal of going out in the woods and like roughing it for a weekend or whatever, and like
Yeah.
camping and all that. But
And bringing a gun just
right,
in case.
and having a gun, like
yeah.
that's badass to shoot a gun and everything.
Right.
But I feel like if it got down to the line and like there were a deer right there, like standing in front of me, and I were in the perfect position to shoot, I don't feel like I would be able to.
Yeah.
I feel like there'd be that moment where it's like, oh, here's this beautiful, graceful creature that if I were in any other situation, I'd be admiring, the natural beauty. But because I'm hunting, I'm gonna shoot it and kill it, and then take it home, skin it, package up the meat and everything, and then probably never eat it because venison's disgusting.
So, I have a story about hunting. Now that we're on the topic.
Okay.
Whenever I was younger, we lived on just on like a regular suburban street,
Okay.
and there was a blue jay there, and it was very easy to identify, because it's flying around. And for some reason, I mean, it's kind of the bird's fault a little bit.
Oh
because,
boy. The bird was asking for it. Look at the way it was dressed.
Yeah, exactly. It's wearing all blue. Anyway, so I mean, it didn't. But what I mean by that is, it didn't leave the street.
Oh.
Or by that I mean it didn't leave the trees, lining the streets
Oh.
of the houses to create the facade that you kind of live in a forest. You know.
Right, right.
So it didn't leave
Uh-huh.
that area, and it just kind of sat in this one bush, and I didn't realize it at the time, but here I'll get to that in a sec. So I shot it with a BB gun, right?
Uh-huh.
And instantly, I felt so much guilt. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
no.
It's just because it's like I was like, I think it's slightly because I realized that it was a mother bird after that.
Oh no.
And I
So
kind
you
of
like had to raise the eggs as your own?
wait.
Okay, okay.
Wait. Yeah,
Oh,
then
no.
they got superpowers and took over the
Right.
city.
Birdman.
So then I realized, and I was like, oh man, I feel really bad. And then I had to like take it out and like throw it away and all that. It was like one of the saddest things I ever did. And I
So you
haven't
actually did kill it?
I did kill it.
Oh man.
And
Crack shot.
I felt terrible about it.
Oh.
It was actually the first animal I had shot at, and I hit it and I killed it. And
Man.
I haven't shot at anything ever again, except for like airsoft and paintball, but that's
Right.
different because that's just trying to like hurt your friends. Just
Right,
fine.
right.
Yeah, that, I'm okay
Instead
with
of killing small animals.
that. yeah.
I'd rather hurt a human than kill a small animal.
Right. So anyway, so later that day, I go back home, and I'm already feeling bad, and I hear this chirping from my tree. And I went over and I checked, and it was a nest, and it was full of. I remember it was full of eggs, but they had just hatched, right? And I was like, crap. I was like, please, dear God, do not let that be the bird I just killed's like offspring.
Uh-huh.
And so I went back in, and they're still chirping like all night, right? And like they're chirping like they chirp like nonstop for like 3 days, right? And the cool thing about it is somehow, some way, they grew up
Alone.
alone
Without a mother.
without a mother.
Oh my God, they're like the Batman of the bird world, and you're the guy that killed his parents in the alleyway after the movie.
I'm probably gonna get picked up. Like I'm gonna be on the edge of a cliff with like
These 3 baby birds are gonna swoop in and take you away.
and just drop me off
Right.
the cliff.
Up yours. Tweet, tweet.
So anyway, but what I think happened was the good thing about it is I went and checked, and I don't think that that was the mother bird of the birds in my yard. I think it was the mother bird of an empty nest in front of my friend's house, which would make more sense anyway.
Okay.
I just thought, what could be the possibilities that they're so close together, and yet this is not the mother of these eggs? You know what I mean? Because usually they don't, being that close proximity, just from competition purposes. But like, I swear, from that day though, I will not kill another animal. It just kind of like made me realize I was like, I will feel really bad later about this.
Just like you saw Bambi, right?
Yes.
Oh man, could you imagine doing that? Being the guy who caused Bambi to happen? Oh
It
man.
wasn't a true story. It was a cartoon.
Yeah, but so is Happy Feet. Those happy dancing penguins.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. If he hadn't tried to squash that spider, it wouldn't have bit him, and he wouldn't have been cursed to be Spider-Man.
Oh, I was talking about his dead dad.
Oh, well, yeah, same deal.
It's like they're harming humans or killing small animals.
Either one,
It's
you
like
gotta weigh the consequences of each.
that discussion again.
Relevant story. In 5th grade, was it 5th? Yeah, I think it was 5th grade. We had this thing where you could bring stuff from home, and the teacher would give you these like paper currency. The teacher would give us this paper currency if we did good on something, right? They were called oh God, I think it was, can't remember who my teacher was. Regardless, we had these paper currencies, and it was whatever the teacher's name was, bucks. And you could bring items from home and sell them at these auctions that they'd have once a month for more bucks, and then use that to buy other people's stuff. So there's a pretty cool sort of system going on. And the ideal thing was you could be in the middle, and then you would have already witnessed, everyone would have a lot of money, and then when you sold your stuff, you get even more money, and then you'd have a lot of things to bid on. And but one of the things that the teacher said was that people had brought frogs before and sold them. So I was like, wow, that's a really good idea, because who doesn't want a frog? So I made it my mission. I was like, I'm gonna catch some frogs, and
Is this for
sell
like the
them.
economics fair?
No, it was something we did every month in that class.
Okay.
So I took this little plastic Tupperware container. I put holes in it. I put some mud and water in there, and I went and started hunting frogs. And I got maybe, I think it was 6 or 8 of them. So I had a ton of frogs in this little Tupperware container. I was like, oh man, how cool is that? And I was like covered in mud, and so was this little container. So I went inside to clean myself up, and I left it outside, and I forgot about it. So the blister. This was in like spring, so it was hot outside, and I left those guys there, and then the next day, was that auction, and I was like, oh man, I need to go get these frogs. Well, they've been sitting out all afternoon because the auction was on like a Monday, and I caught them on I think that Saturday it was.
Yeah.
So I go out and I find that the Tupperware container has dried out, and all this mud has turned into like this, just grainy dirt, and these frogs have just baked to death in the hot sun inside of this Tupperware container, watching each other die one after the other. So I'm like, oh shit, and so I was like, what I'll do is I'll put some more water in there.
Take it in?
Well, no, I was like, I'll put some more water in here, and then when I come back, I'm sure they'll be fine. So I put more water in there, and then my mom found them, and she apparently dumped them out and let them go, and like all of them were dead except for one. So,
oh, that guy probably has like PTSD.
Right, it was bad. Oh man. So, that's why I don't like zoos.
Really? That's why?
No, I don't have issues with zoos.
So a kind of a similar story, but not really. And it was also in fifth grade. That's
Yeah.
what reminded me of it. Is we had did you guys ever go to Sky Ranch for your
We went
elementary
to
school?
Camp Grady Spruce, but same deal.
You're right. So we went to Sky Ranch, and the deal with that is, you got to room with whoever you wanted
Yeah.
to, right? So I was with my friend Siler and Darian. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna mention his last name.
Yeah.
And then his dad.
Yeah.
And I'll just call him Mr. T. Right? Does that make sense? Yeah.
Because his last name starts with a T. I get it. Okay.
So and he's a really
And
cool
Darian
guy.
sounds like a black name. So just to be clear, this is not a black family. The dad is they're white.
Oh, okay. Glad we got that cleared
Yeah.
up, right?
Just in case anyone was confused.
So and then Siler's dad was also there.
No.
Like those were our two chaperones, and he
Yeah.
was like, those are like the two like coolest dads everybody would go hang out
Yeah.
with, right? So because your personal dad, your dad will never be cool. It's always somebody else's dad,
Okay.
right?
My
So-
dad was my chaperone.
Was he?
Yeah. Okay.
So-
Continue.
So what happened in the middle of the night is I got woken up by his dad, and I was like, "What are you doing?" Like,
Oh no! Did he get in bed with you?
yeah. So he came up and he like tapped me on the shoulder and he's like, "Get up." And there were already like three other kids up, and I was like, "What's going on?" And so the way it worked was there was about there were three sets of bunk beds. There was one on the left side of the room, one in the middle of the room. It was in a rectangle fashion, and one
Yeah.
on the right side of the room, right? And you could go upstairs where the chaperone's room was, and then there was a door that split on the right side of the rectangle, right?
Oh.
So you can either walk past the right side of bunk beds into the other room that was exactly symmetric to
Yeah.
the other one, or you could walk upstairs and do it, right?
Right.
And Mr. T was holding the the biggest thing of Twizzlers I've ever seen in my entire life, and I was like,
Twizzlers.
yeah,
Okay.
and I was like, I really don't want to eat Twizzlers right now, and he's like, that's not what we're doing. And I was like, okay.
Oh no.
And so then he wakes up the other six kids in my cabin, right?
Yeah.
And so there's about eight of us, and he had his army crawl above the other I call them teams because there was about to be a war that happened. Right?
Okay.
And so what happened was he probably the most dangerous thing I've ever seen in my life. He lit up like those like poppers. You know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about, like they're
ones you
like
throw on the-
M80s. You know?
Oh, the firecrackers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The ones
they're
you
not-
throw at the ground.
Right.
Then they pop when they hit the ground.
Right, but it's like the ones that you light and they're
Okay,
small,
yeah,
like
firecrackers.
M80s.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like that. And then but you throw you throw them at the ground and then they just go
After you light them.
right.
Right. Okay.
So
yeah.
they don't create any fire. So he didn't think he would create a
Right.
fire or anything like that. So what he's doing is he's lighting these firecrackers, and then he does this right. And there's four kids at the base or the bunk beds and meet with that door right.
Yeah.
And those kids bust in the room. He starts throwing firecrackers at all these kids that are in the bunk beds.
Oh my god.
And then the entire upper banister is in full frontal assault with a bunch of Twizzlers, and they're just hailing down on these kids. And the entire cabin woke up screaming, and they all run out.
Oh my god.
And then what the funniest part about this, it was actually really mean, is the entire cabin, all eight of those kids run outside, and they're all in their pajamas and everything,
Yeah.
right? And the girls' cabin comes to, and they come outside to check out what's going on. So what you get is these boys, and they're all like scared and like hugging each other, and then these girls come out and have to check out their cabin for them, and they see them in their PJs.
Oh man.
And by that time, we had all gone back,
No.
and we flipped on the lights in their cabin, and all you see is about like hundreds and hundreds of Twizzlers
Oh my god.
all over the ground and all over these guys' beds.
Why Twizzlers?
I think it just like was convenient. 'Cause
What he had available.
yeah. It was so beautiful though. It was just
Uh.
like because like it worked so perfectly. As you
Uh.
had this ground force next to the aerial assault, and he's over there throwing firecrackers.
Oh man. My camp story from fifth grade was right off the bat there was this girl who like, everyone hated because she was sort of an asshole. Do you remember Aaron? Well, do you remember Aaron Freeman?
Actually, I do.
Yeah.
You're right on that.
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Well, she's in like Pennsylvania now, so it doesn't matter if we talk bad about her. But that's not the point of this. The point of this is, so at like the first day, we're all hanging around outside, throwing around a football, and Aaron Freeman was like quite a ways away near her cabin with her little group of people. They were all hanging outside of the cabin, and Cody Bird takes this football and he throws the most perfect throw I've ever seen. This spiral, and it flies across this entire like little lakeside area and hits her right on the head. And she starts freaking out, and everyone like absolutely lost, and everyone's going crazy and like chasing him and stuff.
Yeah.
Because some people were trying to like beat him up or whatever. They ended up hiding out in the cabin for the rest, like the next couple hours. It was absolutely insane. It was the funniest thing ever. And the other story is more personally affecting. Oh well, also my dad was one of our room dads, and so was Evan Weiss's dad.
Ooh.
And Evan Weiss's dad was hell to have
Why?
as a room dad.
Why?
Because what he'd do is, to wake us up, he'd always wake us up super early, and he'd do it. He had this super bright, like industrial grade flashlight that he brought with him. That used like 8D batteries.
Shine it in your eyes.
And
Excuse me, sir.
that's
You've
what
been
he'd do.
drinking.
Yeah, he'd go up to you and he'd shine this light right in your eyes, and it was absolutely blinding. And it was horrible. But anyway, the personally affecting story is they gave us a bunch of glow sticks, like the big fat ones, not the little skinny ones. And we were lying in bed and everything, playing with these glow sticks because we'd just gone to bed. And I realized, like, the more I crack these little crystals in there, the brighter it gets. So I'm laying there, I'm holding it above my eyes, and I bend it, and it just pops and sprays and sputters right in my eyes. So, I freak out, I close my eyes, and it's still glowing because it's underneath my eyelids, and I can see, like, the little particles and stuff in it. And I start freaking out and screaming. And, like, everyone's like, oh my god, what's happening, what's happening, what's happening? And my dad went up to me, and he sees me lying there with all this crap all over my face, screaming. And he grabs my shoulder, and the only time my dad has ever hit me, he slaps me across the face, like in the movies, like not a hard slap, just like and he goes, get a grip! And he takes me downstairs and puts me in the shower and starts just spraying this water on my face and everything. It was so awful. So then I was freaking out for like the next like half hour. I was sure I was going to go blind. So then Evan Weiss's dad, calls poison control, and he's like, "Hey,
Of course he did.
this idiot just spilled a glow stick in his eyes. What's gonna happen?" They're like, "Oh, it's no big deal." So I come back up to bed, my eyes hurt and everything. I'm lying in bed. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, what just happened?" I'm freaked out, but in the long run, I was fine. So that was like the main deal with my 5th grade camp. That was the big thing that I remember was getting the glow stick right in my eyes. It was awful.
You get superpowers after that?
Yeah, my eyes were radioactive and I could shoot lasers out of them.
Oh, and see through things, right?
Right, and sometimes like I won't be able to see for like days at a time.
That's the coolest part about it.
Right, and bright lights give me headaches.
What is that a symptom to?
I don't know.
Seizures.
Migraines.
And seizures.
Oh,
and
maybe.
migraines?
I don't know enough about seizures to.
Did you hear about that?
What?
So there's this kid at our school. I'm just gonna call him Joe. He was playing kickball with a couple friends. It was actually yesterday. He was playing kickball with a couple friends.
I saw a picture of this. I think.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was a real thing.
Uh,
And so he kicked, and apparently like he missed the ball or something like that, or he hit the ball like a weird way, and he fell back and hit his head on the wall, right? And he was out.
Man.
But then it gets better. Then he starts having a seizure, apparently. From
Oh no.
And everybody, and I don't understand because all of his close friends, like I'm pretty good friends with him, but his immediate friend group,
What?
what he's doing is he's like out on the ground having a seizure, and you know what his friends start doing? They all started dying laughing at him.
Oh no.
Because if he wasn't out cold, that's not scary enough. What's even funnier is then he starts having a seizure.
Oh my god.
I think okay.
Then they go up and start like teabagging him and everything,
No.
and taking pictures with him.
Even funnier than that, that's the second time that's happened this year.
Oh my god.
There's one before. It wasn't the same guy. He's pretty new to the basketball program, and what's pretty funny is, he's kind of just a strange guy. He's not. There's nothing particularly special. He's just very strange.
Do you mean Joe or this other guy?
No, it's not Joe.
The second guy.
This is another guy.
Okay.
So this other guy is not particularly. There's nothing special about him or anything like that. He's just like, just a strange guy.
Yeah.
Honestly, and so, you know how the basketball guys kind of play fight with each other, and that's just kind of the culture. I don't know if you know that, but we just kind of there's people in there and they just play fight. You know what I mean? Box, but not really hurt each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I guess he didn't understand that. So he starts freaking out because my friend, there's this kid named Cameron, and there's another kid named Chris, right?
Um,
And those two were fighting, and this kid comes over and he tries to break it up, and he gets on one of their backs, right?
okay.
And the kid that was play fighting wasn't expecting it, and so he like went forward, and apparently there was like some like wet spot from somebody's water bottle, and this kid was on his back, and then they were like, no, it's fine, and he goes. And he like tries to let go, and his foot hit the slick spot, and apparently he hit his head on like one of the seats, and
Oh,
they're stone seats, and he was
oh, that's
out cold,
awful.
out cold for like 10
Oh,
minutes before they brought him back around, and like the trainer came over
jeez.
here and was like, "What's going on?" And he like wakes up and he's like, "Did I save him?" He's like, I'm like, "No."
Oh my god. That's like, what was it, the episode of SpongeBob where he goes into the club and he, like the tough guy club, and he slips on an ice cube
Yeah,
and they send him out?
yeah, that's exactly
Oh
what
my
this was.
god. Okay, go ahead and start us off on this story, Zach.
So I think we mentioned him earlier. We had Mr. Carter. He was our really good teacher that we really liked. And the good thing about him is he knew about this. He knew about our
Oh yeah,
predicament
we told him.
with the rafters, which is what they were.
Yeah.
And so where this place is located is it's on the auditorium. This is, by the way, something that me and Jack both took part in,
Yeah.
and it was a lot of fun. So what happened was, and I feel like we can discuss it now because we're almost out anyway.
Statute of limitations.
Right.
You know.
Right. So it was located in the auditorium, and so you have the stage, and you have let's call it stage left and stage right. So
Mhm.
you're looking at the audience. It was stage right, and there's this ladder that goes up, and what it was for is so you could adjust the sandbags for the curtains and to adjust like I think the music players and things were
Yeah.
up there
It was like
as well.
this little platform, and then from there you
There was
get
a
on
second
another
ladder.
ladder.
Yeah, and the second
And they,
ladder.
they found this during like band practice, right?
Right. So
Yeah.
what we were doing is we went up there and you. It was a tradition for the eighth graders to go up there and do something called sign the wall, which is kind of like this rebellious thing where you go up there and you sign the wall, even though every administrator in the building has seen it, and they can, and you're also signing your name, so
Yeah.
you're just confessing to the crime right
Right.
there.
Well, here I think we need to explain what the rafters were. They were just these rafters. How high up would you say?
The rafters were probably like 30, 35 feet
Yeah.
up in the air.
So if you climb the second ladder, you're up on these rafters. Maybe about six
Actually, they're
inches.
probably like 50 feet.
Yeah.
They're probably
Maybe like
50.
6 inches apart each. Maybe a little bit less.
A little bit less, probably like 4.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
And you could look down and see the stage, and from there you could adjust all the sandbags and everything. And
The cool thing about it was if you put your foot like lengthwise, like running with the beams, it
mhm.
wouldn't quite fit down there, but you could if you tried hard enough get your leg stuck.
Right.
And I think Ethan had done that
Oh
before.
yeah, I remember that day he fell.
Yeah, that was
Oh
really
god.
scary.
So, we'd go there during lunch and hang out on these rafters and eat up there and everything. And then one day things sort of stepped up a notch when there was this little
We went through the
porthole.
hatch. Yeah.
There was a hatch.
So the rafters were a thing where the beams were directly over the stage. But the cool thing about it is there was a whole nother level of mystery. So we just kept opening up these doors almost to different locations.
Every day a little bit further.
Right. And it ended up there was a hatch on the other side of the rafters, so completely opposite of the where the ladder up to the beams
You come
were.
up and you have to go the entire length of the stage to get over to this hatch.
Yeah. So and then the hatch, I think it was Gavin that actually lifted it up. First.
Maybe.
So Gavin is one of our friends. He lifts it up, and it was honestly one of the coolest experiences because you look over there and there's these grates, like it looks like these little
It was
bridges.
like a catwalk.
Yeah. So
Suspended
yeah.
from the ceiling.
Right. And it's all red and lit up, and it's like
Because there were the lights over the audience, and they reflected backwards just a little bit
Right.
and lit up this entire area. So at this point, you were over the audience, and this catwalk went out,
Right.
and it was this entire like cement thing on like wire mesh suspended up there where all the lights and electrical systems and stuff were, and then there was this catwalk.
Right. And so we probably spent weeks up there, like
Exploring a little bit further every
right,
day.
because we'd always get scared that we were gonna set off some alarm or something like that would
Uh-huh.
happen, or somebody will walk in below you. Because if somebody walks in below you, not only can they look up and see four kids, 4 or 5,
On these rafters,
on
yeah.
these rafters looking down at them, but also like just the fact that we don't want to be in there and set off an alarm
Yeah.
or get in huge trouble because that was obviously we knew that was a big no-no. Um, but so then we spent enough time up there to where we knew where to chill out, what were the best spots were, and I
Mm.
had even designed this like rope structure because the catwalks had started swaying after we had used them a lot.
And it would make really loud noises.
Right. So we found some rope up there, and I used it to tie it down and kind of fasten it to the ceiling, and we could run on it, and it wouldn't even move anymore. And then, but the coolest part about it was there was that
Ooh.
third ladder.
And this was out on the. So you'd go straight out on the catwalk and then turn to the left, 90 degrees. And you go a little further, and the catwalk went all the way to the end of it. But about halfway on this catwalk, from that left turn, there's this other ladder that looked almost like in the movies when they go up in the submarines and there's a hatch on top. And that's exactly what this was. And every day we'd look at this, and there was a little bit of light that you could see through
It
the
said
hatch.
fire alarm, do not open.
Uh,
And like it was like if you open this door, the fire alarm will go off.
right. And then one day, well, who was it?
It was Gavin. And we
Gavin?
sent Gavin up there all by himself to open up the hatch. And we
Nothing
did
happened.
nothing. We did well. The thing about it was we waited half an hour, and we're like, "Crap! What happened to Gavin?" Because we're all in the lunchroom because we didn't even want to be associated with it.
Right.
And so Gavin comes back and he's like, "What? I just went and ate lunch up there." And we're like, "Gavin, you had us worried sick. Like, why weren't you not? Why would you not tell us? You know?"
Right.
And so then from there on, it was towards the end too.
Yeah.
So we started eating lunch on the roof of our school.
Because you could, this port went up onto this, onto the roof of the like bigger part of the school, so you could look down and see the entire courtyard. And it was kind of terrifying, so you'd have to like lay down because all the windows looked up right at this roof, and
Yeah.
they would have been able to see people walking around up there.
Really, the central office for
Uh,
McKinney would look straight at you.
yeah.
And I think there's a bunch of stories with it that go with it as well. Like whenever Trenton got stuck up there.
Oh yeah. I think. Well, so this one day we were hanging out up there, and then we went to go, and this one kid was like, "Hey, I'm not ready to come down yet." So we're like, okay, whatever. We're going back to class. So we left, and we get to class, and we're sitting around, and this kid still is not in class.
It's
So
like 15 minutes into
yeah.
class.
So who was it? Was it Caleb Stoll that went?
Caleb Stoll went.
He goes and he says, Mr. Carter. He's like, where's Trenton? And Caleb Stoll goes, oh, he's having some tummy troubles. Those were his words. So he goes and he leaves to go find Trenton. We know that he's still up there. And then, about, 5-10 minutes later,
Yeah.
Trenton comes back. He walks in without Caleb. So we're like, oh no. So he's like, oh yeah, the assistant principal came in there. And,
He had to wait it out.
yeah. And then, Caleb Stoll comes back a few minutes later, like, I couldn't find him. And there he is. So, he's like, yeah, I went up there and looked around everywhere, but I couldn't find him. And, oh god.
The funniest experience that I had up there was so the rafters overlooked the auditorium, right? And I was in band at that point, and the French horns were having sectionals. So what that is you take all the French horns out of the original band, right? And they're having a horn lesson, right? Well, I didn't think that they were going to have it because we had just had a band field trip, and me and Caleb from the podcast, he was on there. Me and him were up in the rafters, and our friend Daniel, who also came up with us, was in the French horn section, and we went up there, and all of a sudden, 8 French horns come in and sit down on the stage, and we're like, crap, these things are like an hour long. Like, how are we supposed to get down now? Because the teacher's right there, and they're having a lesson. And so we're like, okay, well, obviously we're going to be stuck here for about an hour. And so we had to be extremely, extremely quiet. And so what we did is we took a little bit of spit and we spit onto Daniel's French horn. And he goes, he like kind of looks up and he like moves his head. And then you hear him gasp. And he's like, and Mr. Beck just kind of looked at him and then kept going. And he like cleaned his spit valve, because it looked like he had done it. And then Daniel was like the last one to get out, and he was like, "Guys," he was like, "You guys were up there the whole time." Man, it was kind of nerve wracking though, because you couldn't move around too much without somebody looking up there,
Right. Because it was metal and it would echo.
Yeah.
And the other really good one was when we found the spray paint. So there was all this spray paint up there, and this one little like little shelf over off to the edge, and we found all this spray paint, and
it was in the media room, wasn't it?
No, it was it was up there already in this one little like weird like area that was kind of off to the side.
The sound room, right?
Maybe. Do you have to go up there to get to the sound? Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of the rooms that we.
Yeah. So we had this spray paint, and this one kid, Ethan, takes it, and oh well, we made a shrine to Mr. Carter. We took this big wheel of wood and we leaned it up against the wall. And what we write like
Tyrant?
no,
That
no,
one?
no. We wrote something about we spray painted in gold something about Mr. Carter on this wooden wheel, and we
Oh,
took
yeah, yeah, yeah.
one of his eagle posters that he had on this podium. It
That
was
he
this,
was
like American
so
eagle.
mad
He was like,
about.
"Where did my eagle poster go?" But we
And
put it on this.
he stopped class for 2 days going, I know one of you guys has my Eagle poster, and until then, all we're gonna do is read.
Yeah. Well, he never got it back because it was up in the rafters, and we put it on. We attached it to this wooden wheel, and we wrote something about Mr. Carter on it. And then we were up there, and we were running around with the spray paint, and this is like the last, towards the very end of the school year. And this Ethan kid takes it, and he shakes it up, and he spray paints on the wall. He goes up because there are all these like obscene drawings on there, and he takes it, and he starts spray painting on the wall, and he wrote tyrants, but he misspelled it. So instead of a Y, he used an I. So it said tyrants, and then we're walking around there, and this was the last time we went up there. So we'd set up the shrine. He spray painted on the wall, and we're walking around, and his foot goes through the gap,
Oh,
both
yeah.
feet, and he falls, and he just racks himself like a Mr. Bean episode, and just boom,
Oh, it's so funny.
he's suspended there, and apparently it didn't hurt him that bad because then he gets up, and he's like. We expect him to say, "Oh man, I think I just pulverized my nads," but instead he's like, "Oh man, I'm covered in dirt." So
Yeah, it was really funny, and he was like, "Look at my hands," and he couldn't breathe because you could tell he was in pain.
yeah.
He's like, "Look at my hands."
Oh man, that was too good. Here, sing a little goodbye.
This has been the Gag Reflex.
Nice.